Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
What is up, Startup Nation? I almost wanted to say good morning, Startup Nation. Like we have a radio show.
It is morning here still.
And because it's so cold, I feel like it's morning. Like you're just trying to wake up and get out of bed, or you're tired. I know probably like if people know we're in Florida, they're probably like, what are these two complaining about?
I know. Literally, you guys, I'm in tall boots. I've got my jeans on. I've got like a faux fur vest. I've got a sweater. I'm all bundled up because it was 40 degrees down here last night. And for Florida, that's
really
like
cold.
Freezing cold. I think it actually snowed in Tampa and Jacksonville and Tallahassee, which is like unheard of.
And I think probably all of our listeners from cold places are probably not crying for us. They're probably playing that very small violin.
Our
like,
guest
wah, wah, wah.
today, is actually from like just outside of Chicago, and he was saying it just before as we were chit-chatting before we hit the record button. He said it was negative 15. That should be like,
See,
not
I don't know, but
possible.
most people might not know or do know that I'm actually from Connecticut. So I've actually,
experienced that.
Experienced all the very freezing cold.
Hence why you're in Florida.
That's right. And I haven't looked back a day in my life, and that's been since 2001. But anyways, let's get on with the show. So last week we had a great podcast. One of our only guests that likes to come in office, Justin Gaines from Greenpoint Med. And he talked about 3 tips on how to use your out-of-network benefits to be able to bill clients or patients in your practice. And if you hadn't heard that, make sure you go back and listen. We offered a lot of practice tips, value bombs, and ninja tips. Also, we're really excited. Like Kate said, our guest today is Alex Molik from Therapy Sites. So we're really excited to speak with him about growing your practice and giving us some online marketing tips to do just that. But before we get started, we wanted to say, if you're a first-time listener, we wanted to roll out the virtual red carpet for you and say thank you so much for joining us. And we have a special gift for you. Head over to our website, privatepracticestartup.com. Head over to the resources tab and download your A to Z cheat sheet. That's everything from A to Z to building and growing your dream practice. And of course, we're on Facebook like everybody else. So find us, theprivatepracticestartup.com, ask to be part of our group. And there you'll interact directly with Kate and I and our community of over thousands of other therapists around the globe.
Yeah, so before we dive into our topic today, which is growing your practice, 4 online marketing tips with Alex Molik, we want to take a quick break from our sponsors. And today's sponsors are actually from the Private Practice Startup, and it's the attorney-approved private practice paperwork. As clinicians, Katie and I, when we first started out over a decade ago, we realized that therapists are really leaving themselves open to legal risk and legal issues by not having paperwork that's been approved by an attorney and meets all of the legal and ethical standards. And not to mention, attorneys can be really, really expensive. And when you're trying to start up or grow your practice, it's, much smarter to be able to use those thousands of dollars towards marketing expenses and everything else that you need to grow and build your practice. So we offer our attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and it actually took us about a decade to perfect that, and then we had it reviewed by several attorneys so it meets the highest legal and ethical standard so that you are not at risk and you're able to continue doing the work that you love, making a difference in the world, and seeing the clients that you love to see in private practice. So head over to our website, privatepracticestartup.com, and under our shop tab, you'll be able to see our a la carte paperwork and package options. Actually, on our a la carte page, we have a giveaway for you guys where you can actually download one of our attorney-approved forms for free. So make sure you head over to the a la carte page to check that out and take advantage of that opportunity.
Awesome. So without further ado, hello, Alex.
Hello, and I can't say good morning because it is still morning for me. Thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Yes, we're delighted to have you here. Denise and I have been communicating for years off and on, and she's always such a great resource. So she has connected us with you, which is great. So we're excited about your topic, growing your practice for online marketing tips.
And so, Alex, you've been with Therapy Sites for over 3 years now, and you started as a website specialist and then moved over to sales manager. Tell us how that happened. How are you enjoying sales? What's the transition been like?
Yeah, so to be honest, it all started, got really lucky getting started with Therapy Sites. I worked for a sister company of Therapy Sites, and a sales position opened, or like a website specialist position opened. Interviewed it and got it, and kind of never looked back because love what we do over here. Really think we provide a quality product, and we really do help our customers. But after 2.5 years of being part of the sales team, was a team lead for a little bit of that time as well. Management position opened as well. And not only do I really like helping the customers I'm working with, making sure that like our solution is the best fit for them, I also like helping the people that I work with. So I don't really view it as like a management role where I'm kind of like the dictator by any means. I'm more so here to help the people that I'm working with and making sure that they have the resources they need to be successful, just kind of like how we make sure that our customers have the resources they need to be successful as well.
Awesome. And I know a lot of times in many of the different companies that we've talked to that support therapists, a lot of times those companies were started because there's some connection to therapists. Why was Therapy Sites created?
Yeah, so Therapy Sites started about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And the original founder, I believe, had a couple connections in the therapy business where they had kind of the content, the links and resources, kind of a lot of the building blocks of what Therapy Sites was started by therapists. And then about 3.5, 4 years ago, internet brands saw what Therapy Sites was doing and really kind of valued how, basically how great their product was and kind of took over from there. So that's kind of where we are now. But yeah, 10 years ago, it was a lot of those mental health connections that really kind of helped build Therapy Sites to what it is, or what it was, and what it is today. And we still use a lot of that content, a lot of those resources, because it is valuable and it is something that someone in that field has created, and we don't really want to stray away from that.
I'm sure our listeners are wanting to know a little bit more about Therapy Sites as well. So for those who may not know or may not have heard of you, can you share a little bit about what makes you all different and what the services you all provide for clinicians who are in private practice, is building their websites and all of that good stuff?
Yeah. So what sets Therapy Sites apart is we really try to give you the building blocks to having a successful online presence. So you don't start from scratch. We have designs you choose from. We have pre-supplied content that you start with. And we now have an onboarding call that happens like a week or two after you get started with us. So you're going to sit down with someone from our support team that's going to walk you through everything that we provide. And that includes a HIPAA-compliant website, HIPAA-compliant scheduling tool, unlimited customer support. And all of our websites are going to be mobile responsive, and all of our domain names are secure as well. So when it's going to be HTTPS, which is super important now because Google actually starts to value those domain names more than those that are insecure. So we really try to build the solution to be everything that our customers need, that these mental health professionals need, because at the end of the day, they went to school to help people, to be a specialist in the mental health field. They didn't take courses on building a website or anything like that. So we try to make our business to be as user-friendly as possible. And then at any point that you're like, I don't know how to do X, Y, or Z, upload a logo, I don't know how to add this photo, I don't have the time because you're running your own business to upload or anything to your website, you can give us a call. You can send us an email and say like, hey, here's what I want to add to my website. So you don't have to spend all your free time working on your website. We can kind of help you build that out as well.
And let me tell you guys, from personal experience, I must be like a glutton for punishment or something, because I have literally built 7 websites at this point. And every time I build a website, it's so painstakingly time consuming and makes me want to pull my hair out. It takes so much time. I make it beautiful and I'm happy with the results, but the amount of time and energy and frustration that goes into it and what I miss out on in life and like spending all that time doing that.
You get actually very irritable, and cranky.
When I'm doing the tech stuff, I'm not passionate about it. So if you guys can learn from my mistakes of not outsourcing that, yeah, definitely outsource the website. And I'm sure you can attest to that as well, because you always outsource the website.
To you.
Right? Yeah, never again. Not happening again.
So, Alex, why don't we jump into your topic, growing your practice with some online marketing tips. So where should we start in this discussion?
Oh, man. So the first tip is kind of what we were just talking about, is the website, because you can't really grow your business online if you don't have a website nowadays. So that's even if you go by referrals and word of mouth. You need to have a website, because whenever someone hears about you, it's kind of their first instinct to pull out their phone and Google you online. So even if you're just working to build your business itself, just getting a website out there and online is going to help. And then obviously if you're trying to build it online, having that website with us. We also offer some Psychology Today promotions as well. So not only do you get a website when you start with Therapy Sites, we'll help you start to build out that directory listing at Psychology Today as well. So you're kind of getting a really great head start on the building block to having that online presence with us.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, so you have it, that's an extra bonus with the online therapist directory and then the website. And you're so right, because everyone Googles everything these days. Even if you have that word of mouth referral from a trusted friend or family member, you want to know, you want to do your own research. And if someone's not on the web and they have, or they're on the web and they have a crappy website, it's a real turnoff.
It is, for sure. And or if they don't have a website, like having a website is your online business card or your resume or however you want to think about it. It's your first introduction to, your potential client. So you really want to make that first introduction very good. And you don't even know that people are looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. So it's so important to have a very good quality website, responsive website. And mobile websites, responsive websites for mobile phones are even more important, because most people are on the phone. Like you said, Alex, is they'll whip out their phone and they're Googling you.
Oh, yeah. It's like it was 2 years ago, it was like 65%. So now I can't even imagine. It's probably 70, 75, 80%. Like even my parents have smartphones now, and they're not the best at technology, to put it nicely, but they have smartphones. They Google everything. They're looking everything up online. So it's so important to have that online presence. And when we go to like conferences and I'm talking to these therapists in person, I really try to portray that and say, like, even if you don't, or you're not trying to, build a extremely busy practice, just kind of going online is going to help you a ton, because even if it's not with us, if it's with someone else, just building up a credible website is going to do a ton for you and your credibility for your practice.
And two, for those listening who have websites that are several years old, I'd really encourage you to possibly, work with someone to revamp and update that. Because I know that I think I've had, me personally, in 8 years, I probably had like 4 or 5 websites, and it's been redone. I've had Squarespace, I moved to WordPress, and a lot of stuff changes. So it's really important to make sure you update your website to make it even more user-friendly. And that's actually one of the things Kate and I are passionate about on the copywriting aspect, and really helping people communicate to their ideal client on their website. So that's something that we really enjoy, and we do some group coaching. We're developing an e-course, so we're super stoked about that.
Yes, we love that stuff. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. So share with us another tip about online marketing, Alex.
Yeah, so something that's really important now is expanding off your website. If you want to be successful online, you can't just have a website now. So like I talked about a little bit earlier, we help you get that listing in Psychology Today, but you want to kind of you don't want to stop there, right? You want to look at getting a Google listing or a Google Plus listing. You want to make sure that your Google listing is verified. You have a Maps listing so people know where they're going. We have talked to so many people that they've been in practice so long, they have old information out on the internet. So their client calls them and like, hey, I'm at this location. Like, oh, I don't even practice there anymore. So just making sure everything online is updated with your current information, the right phone number, the right address, and building your local, it's called directory listings, just like a plain term for it, would be the next step to go. So not only does it just enhance your overall online presence and make sure all your information is correct, it actually helps the credibility of your website. So something you'll notice I say a little bit is credibility of your website. And that's really important to search engines and getting found in search engines because there's millions and millions and millions of websites. So the more credible you look, the better resource overall you look, the better visibility you're going to get when people are making searches in their area or when they're just trying to find you online. So just building up that online presence is going to be really, really important as well.
You got to make yourself Google-licious.
Yes. Yes.
Kate was over here just waiting to say that.
I was over here laughing to myself and waiting for a moment to just, say that comment.
Was that one of our podcasts? Where do we hear that first?
Oh, gosh, I've heard it in so many places. But anyways, we only have, a certain amount of time for the tips. So let's move on to the next tip, Alex.
Yes. So something that's important now as well is going to be social media. Millions of people are on social media. It gives you a really cool new way to connect with your client base or prospective clients. It's more like a social setting. It's not such a more like formalized setting. So getting on social media, posting on social media is something that is really important nowadays to help kind of build out that online presence. And actually, the larger listing and following you have on social media, once again, helps your website and the rankings of your website. So we have a lot of our customers ask, well, isn't social media going to kind of conflict with HIPAA compliance? And as long as you're not posting any personal information or patient information on your social media page, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever it is, you're fine. If the client's choosing to like your page, to follow your page, so there's no violations there at all, or it wouldn't be something that we would recommend because we don't want to try to put our customers in a spot where they're having HIPAA compliant issues or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And one of the things that we really reiterate to clinicians in private practice is to make sure that your consent form has a social media policy in it, so that your clients know very clearly where you stand with your social media and that you're protecting yourself by not putting yourself at risk. If they comment on your feed, they do so at your own risk, that you would never disclose that they're a client of yours. That's one of the things that we have ironed out in the consent form.
It's interesting because I shared with Kate, we've been doing a lot more influencer marketing, and when I'm in my office, I'll take random pictures and post things. And my colleague, who's also a therapist, I tag her. And interestingly enough, this past week, I was looking at this picture I posted, and I realized like a client of mine liked it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're not friends. I only my things are showed to friends of friends." And this was on my personal page. And then I realized, oh my gosh, she's actually friends with my colleague and he could actually see my picture and like it. And I was like, oh. So yeah, you have to be kind of really careful, even though you're as careful as you can be. Business stuff on your personal page and things like that is really important. And like Kate said, that social media policy is important. We have a blurb of that about that in our paperwork. I know that Dr. Keely Combs also does a comprehensive social media policy and actually allows other therapists to use that. So if you're wondering more about like the HIPAA compliancy and like Alex, you're saying, if people are asking about that and they're concerned, really just educating yourself on, social media and your presence and HIPAA and all that stuff is really essential.
Absolutely.
So what else do you got for us?
Yeah, so I know you kind of mentioned where we only have a certain amount of time, so I can give so many tips, and there's so much more to kind of just having a website now to being successful. So the last one I'll give today for our podcast here, it kind of goes along with what we've said a couple times, like to stay Google-licious, and how you've redone your website 4 or 5 times is stagnation is going to be kind of what's really going to put you down. So you want to stay active. You want to have an up-to-date website. You want to have up-to-date information on your website. You want to have a lot of, because at the end of the day, your website's a resource for your clients and your potential clients, right? So you want to make sure that you don't have old information on the website in regards to your specialties, right? So just making sure you're updating and working on your website on a constant basis. And constant doesn't mean every single day. Constant means every month, 2 months. Just don't leave it where it's like 4 years old. It's outdated. It's got like the wrong phone number on it. Just making sure that you're kind of taking 20, 30 minutes every month or two to just put some work into your website. And like I said earlier, we have that support team in place where you could just call us or email us and say, hey, here's what I want to add, or here's what I want to update on my website. So you don't have to kind of go out of your way to do that and take more time out of your day in your really busy schedule of running your practice. We can kind of do that for you. So, yeah.
And I like that you said that, Alex, because I know, in sharing our stories, Kate and I, it is websites have gotten extremely complex, and there's so much that has to be done. I know you're even talking about the HTTPS, and some of you might be like, what are you even talking about? Well, before, like, websites, it wasn't necessarily to have that SSL security code, unless you were like taking payment and things like that. But even what you're saying, it's like, no, Google wants that almost on everyone's website. And especially for HIPAA compliance, you want to make sure that's secure as well. Make sure you have secure forms. There's just so much to go into a website. I don't even want to know anymore. I just want to say, this is the result I want to see, and then just don't tell me. My web designer likes to try to educate me. I'm like, just stop. You're talking Japanese. Like, no. You're giving me a headache. This is what I want to see. Can you do that? Okay, that's all I need to know. Yeah. So that's my relationship to websites nowadays.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's literally, it changes every single day. So what was relevant a year ago is so different than what's relevant today. So it's like, it's so hard, like you're just saying, it's so hard to keep on top of what is relevant and what's going to, help your website perform and be successful. So, which is why we're here, why you have a website developer, right? Because that's all they work on. That's what they know. So it really helps you focus on your practice, and your clients and your family and things like that. So we kind of take care of that for you. Your website company or your website designer takes care of that for you, because there is so much to having a successful website, having a secure website, having an easy to edit website. So yeah.
Alex, I know sometimes when people think about websites, they think like, oh my gosh, like thousands of dollars, I don't have that to spend. But you guys have a very specific model at Therapy Sites. So can you share a little bit about your model and how that works and how it's actually an affordable way of developing a website?
Yeah, so we don't do any type of contracts. We don't do any type of setup fees. So it's pretty much, when you get started with us, it's a subscription rate, and it's $59, $59. And our pricing structure has been the same since we started. So we don't change our rates. We don't change our pricing. We've only added more features and services within that $59 a month service. We're not trying to put our customers out of business. We want them to succeed. So we try to build them an easy to manage, an easy to pay for website. So it's not like it's stuck in a yearly contract. You don't have to pay heavy setup fees. It's really, you can start a free 14-day trial so you can see, like, is this website editor for me? Are these designs going to fit what I like? And if you're like, you know what, this looks great, then you can get started with us and we'll start building that live website for you on the actual internet. So we try to be as user-friendly and user-conscious as possible.
Awesome. And I know that you have a giveaway, and if you go to our show notes page, we're going to put a link there. And what it is, it's you get the first month free, and then like Alex said, it's $59 a month. So we'll go ahead and put a link there, and you want to use the code PPS as in Private Practice Startup. So Alex, you've been a joy and a pleasure to have on. If you had one thing that you really want people to take away from your message today, what would that be?
The one main message is take care of your website. It's a lot more important nowadays than a lot of people think, and it's a critical and crucial aspect of your practice. So whether you choose therapy sites, whether you choose any single other person or website designer, just make sure you're caring for your website, because it is kind of that critical piece of being successful now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Startup Nation, we wanted to thank you for joining us and hanging out with Alex from Therapy Sites. Next week, we are really excited about our guest. So our guest is Amy Crane from Social Lab Marketing.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Yeah, she's super bright and colorful. I know it's a podcast, so you're not going to see her, but we actually got introduced to Amy Crane through Allison Perrier. And we actually have been utilizing a lot of Amy's Facebook ads and things like that, and took her course. And so we've had great success with it, and we are excited to have her here talking about Facebook ads with you guys. So Startup Nation, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Head over to the show notes page for everything that we had talked about today, the giveaways, the paperwork, all that interesting stuff. And if you really like our show, it's really important for us to know that. So a lot of times randomly we get these really cool emails like, thank you so much, you're inspiring, you really helped me get through blah, blah, blah. We would just love for you to maybe share a review on iTunes. So you can head over iTunes and write a review to let us know, hey, how we're doing, what else you want, and how this has been helpful to you, because that's the stuff that keeps us going.
And that's one of the ways that helps us fulfill our mission of really making a difference in clinicians' lives and across the globe, because the more reviews we have on iTunes, the more iTunes shares our podcast and it reaches more people. So that's really just beneficial in multiple ways is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Yes.
So we hope you guys have an amazing and awesome day. We look forward to continuing to inspire you from startup to mastery.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.